all, my name is Desiree. I'm in Dr. Neat's AP class, and I'm super excited to talk with you guys about making void methods with input parameters. This is my first time teaching, so I'm super excited, and I was looking over some old lab videos for some reference, and I saw that a couple super AP students had their guitar in their background, so I thought I'd put mine back there just to kind of match up. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright guys, as you can see, I don't have Notepad++, that's because I'm coding on a Mac. So this is what my starter file looks like, but nothing should look too different. So right now I'm in my Lab 40 folder, and this is my starter file. For today's lesson, we're going to create a method that allows the user to input how many times we want a rectangle to jump. Okay, so like all the other methods that we've created so far, we're not going to type them in our main method. We're going to go outside of our curly brackets and start typing here. I'm going to type the method header, and I'll explain each part of it. So public static void, and I'm going to call our method jump with one parameter. And we'll go steps, because we're going to tell the computer how many steps we want our rectangle to take. Okay, so this is our method, and this is our method header. So public means that this method can be used outside of this specific file. Static means that this method was created in the same file as our main method. So you'll see like sometimes we'll have two files open, and if that method was created in the other file, we'll have a different header. But for now, we're using public, static, and void. Void means that we're not expecting anything in return. So the method is going to do its job, and we're not expecting any data in return. Jump is just our method name, and it's a good practice to always name your methods like the purpose of what your method is doing. Now here's the big kicker of the lesson, which is what we're going to talk about. It's the really important part. This is called the parameter. So the parameter here is called steps. This is our variable steps, and it's the type integer. And later on, we're going to use this variable steps in our method when we start writing our code right here. Okay. So first, we're going to create a rectangle, or construct a rectangle. So rectangle R equals new rectangle. And we're going to draw it. Okay, so nothing new here. Now we're going to create a counter variable. So int c equals 0, and a while loop. Okay, so while the counter is less than our steps variable, we're going to use this here. So steps. To get a good look of how our rectangle jumps, I'm going to have it pause first for a little bit, so 750. So I picked these numbers out beforehand, so it would be easier for us to see our rectangle taking our steps instead of like one long slide. So it's going to pause, then it's going to take a like 20 unit step, and then it's going to pause again, and then take another 20 unit step. So you'll see that. So this is our method right here. Now, how do we use it? How do we call our method? Well, we're going to do that in our main method up here. Okay, we're going to type jump, and let's say we want our rectangle to take 8 jumps. Just like that, and we're done. Now, why did I write 8 here? This is something new, right? Usually our parentheses are empty, but now we have an 8 here, and we have a variable steps here. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm passing, that's the official term, I'm passing this number 8 to this method. Okay, so if you can imagine, like, this method here, when I write in parentheses, like when I add parameters, I'm essentially asking the user to give me that variable. Okay, so by writing int steps, I am asking for an integer, and I'm going to assign that integer, which is our 8 here, and I'm going to assign that to steps. Now this allows us to use steps in our method. And this helps because instead of assigning steps directly to 8, I can assign any number to 8. This is why methods are really good for reusing code and organizing code. And that's its main purpose. So I'm like sending this number 8 to here, if that makes any sense. Now if you look around, sometimes you'll see a bunch of things in parentheses, right? You let's say like a string or something. You'll see a bunch of, stuff, basically unlimited amount of parameters. And you can do that. You can totally do that. The only catch is that you have to match what's in this parenthesis to this parenthesis here. So if I'm asking for an integer and a string, when I call this method, and these names have to be the same, right? So this is the method itself, and then you're just calling it. So if I'm asking for an integer, I have to give an integer. If I'm asking for a string, I have to give it a string. I don't know, like Bob or something. And then later in the method, I would use the string. Actually, let's make this text. So text, and then we could do like label.draw, right? Something like that. Okay. For right now, we're just going to stick to one parameter. And let's test it out and see how it works. So we're going to save and compile. This is what it looks like on a Mac. Compile, and no errors, so that's good. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no! It's going over. Okay. So, if you guys caught that, which I did not realize until now, why did our rectangle not stop after 8 jumps? That is because in our while loop, I totally forgot to increment our counter variable. So yeah, I hope you guys caught that. Let's try that again. Command and run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go, and now the rectangle has stopped. Yay. So as you can see, our 8 was passed from here to here, and now steps equals 8, and it was implemented into our while loop. Okay, and then I have the counter variable incrementing now, so our rectangle doesn't jump forever. So as you can see, we took 8 steps. Now, the reason, again, another huge benefit for methods is that you can reuse code, so we can use this as many times as we want. Let's say we wanted to have the rectangle jump like 15 times, or let's go smaller number, like 11 or something. Instead of like rewriting this all over again with like another variable, we just have to replace this number with 11. Just like that. Okay, we're going to save, and let's see this in action now. Compile. No errors. I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there we go, and the rectangle stops, just like that. Right? And there you have it. Let's look at your lab real quick. So it looks like you have to choose the number of boxes that you want to appear. Okay, so it gives you the method header right here. Public static void, this is your method name, make boxes, and your one parameter, which is a variable nb of type integer. Alright, so I hope this helps. Thank you guys so much for listening.